Elon Musk is kicked out of private club and black millionaire surprises by saving homeless. It was the kind of headline that grabbed every eye, every headline spot, shaking up the whole tech world. Elon Musk, yes, the Elon, booted from the Silicon Circle Club, the most exclusive, high-powered gang of tech geniuses and billionaires. The whispers were wild. Somebody said Elon threw a fit at the last gala. Others said it was a quiet but brutal vote, a scandal covered up like a dirty secret. But that wasn't all. Right there on the bustling streets of San Francisco, a shadow moved in sharp contrast to the glittering skyscrapers. Marcus Reed, black billionaire, smooth, calm, mysterious, like a ghost in a tuxedo, was spending the evening differently. While the headlines flashed, Marcus was seen helping a homeless man, wrapping a warm coat around his shoulders in the fading orange light. People paused, stared, confused. Why would a man like Marcus, heir to a tech empire, be out in the ching? Once a titan in tech, his days of glory crumbled when the circle closed its gates against him. Expelled, humiliated, left with nothing but the echo of his own name. His chest felt tight, a bitter lump rising as he walked past roaring crowds and neon lights. Everything he worked so damn hard for, gone, like smoke in the sunset. He passed homeless camps, their smells, their silence cutting into his skin. His hands trembled. Confusion and anger fought inside him. What happened to the man everyone once praised? The relentless visionary losing grip on his own story. Then, bam! He bumped into Marcus Reed. The billionaire's eyes sparked with a strange mix of kindness and sharpness as he steadied Jack. There was something magnetic, a confidence that didn't need to shout. "You're Jack Mason, right?" Marcus said softly, voice low but clear. "I know what it feels like to be pushed out." Jack blinked, wary but desperate. "Look, I've got a place. Somewhere we can talk. Maybe figure out a way forward." His penthouse, they said later, was stunning, like stepping into a strange dream. Walls twisted with art no one understood, tech gadgets that whispered secrets, and windows opening onto a dizzying view of the city below. But what caught Jack's breath was the truth Marcus shared, the deep cracks running under the polished floors of the Silicon Circle Club. Inside were lies, power trips, and betrayals darker than Jack had dared imagine. Together, they bonded over bruised egos and fierce ambition, two men fighting to rewrite their destinies. But danger crawled close. There was a rival, a shadow lurking with a vengeful smile, ready to exploit every weakness. The tension stretched tight like a wire ready to snap. Yet, in this brutal fight against old prejudices and ruthless games, Jack and Marcus discovered something strange. A hidden link, a secret thread weaving their pasts tightly together. It wasn't just a battle for success anymore. It was a fight for who they really were. One night, as Jack rifled through Marcus's scattered papers in that surreal penthouse, he found a file. Its edges were sharp, its contents darker than expected. A scandal so huge it could shift the whole power game. But the question that gnawed at Jack wasn't just about winning. It was about whether he could change. Could he shed the old hate and pain inside? Could he stand tall against the storm of lies and fear? The city lights flickered below. The file sat heavy in his hands. What was he willing to lose to find himself again? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Jack's heart pounded against his chest, the file heavy in his hands, reality shifting like quicksand beneath him. The city lights blinked, but inside Marcus's penthouse, time seemed to freeze. The file wasn't just a revelation. It was a ticking bomb. And as Jack's mind raced, he felt the weight of the world pressing down. Jack, Marcus's voice was barely a whisper, filled with a tension that cut sharply through the stillness. You don't have to go down this path. We can find another way. The sincerity in his eyes was both comforting and terrifying. But questions dug deeper into Jack's mind. Why had Marcus brought him here really? Was it just to share secrets? Or was there something more? Something life-altering yet hidden in that file? The words danced on the tip of his tongue, but he hesitated. Each moment spun out, heavy with unspoken fears. Then, bang! The door flew open, slamming against the wall with a thunderous crash. Jack's breath caught, eyes flicking to the tumultuous entrance. A figure stormed into the room, a man, glaring fiercely, dressed in dark leather, eyes blazing with fury. It was David Frost, the chairman of the Silicon Circle Club, the very man Jack feared most. "What are you doing here?" David growled, voice low and cold, as he effortlessly commanded the space. Jack stumbled back, instincts screaming to flee. "David, wait!" Marcus interjected, stepping forward to block Jack. "This isn't how it looks." "Oh, really?" David's laughter cut through the air, sharp and mocking. "You're playing both sides now?" "How noble. And what, Jack? Did you think you could just waltz back into the club with a rich friend to back you up?" Jack's head spun. Voices began to blur, confusion creeping in. "What does he mean?" he rasped, barely able to breathe. As David moved closer, something glinted in his hand, a small rectangular device that looked too familiar. Suddenly, realization gripped Jack's gut like a vice. "No," he breathed. "You wouldn't." David's smirk widened. "Oh, but I would. I recorded every conversation you and Marcus had. Every secret shared here." He gestured to the file Jack held, contempt dripping from his voice. "You think that's power? This is power." The room flipped, a whirlwind of emotions crashing over Jack. Betrayal, fear, and anger twisted together like a storm inside him. "You wouldn't expose Marcus. he shouted, trying to find his footing, fighting the urge to crumble. A chilling smile crept across David's face, full of cruelty. "Oh, I wouldn't need to. You will. You'll have to choose your career or your friend." "What?" Jack barely managed, heart racing. "You're bluffing." But as the tension thickened, a shot fired through the room, an echo of chaos that shattered the hesitation that hung in the air. A hand, gloved and quick, moved behind David, and bang! The deafening sound obliterated the moment, sending shards of reality crashing down around them. Silence fell, chilling the air as Jack's eyes widened in horror. Blood pooled beneath David as he crumpled to the floor. A sudden stillness laying over them like a heavy shroud. Time trickled down to a standstill. "What just happened?" Jack gasped, confusion wrestling with shock. Marcus stood frozen, eyes wide. "We need to get out of here, now." Jack's pulse thundered in his ears. The file slipped from his grasp, forgotten as chaos danced at the edges of his mind. Trust shattered like glass. Was Marcus the ally he thought, or had it all been a setup? Fear gripped Jack like a vice, tearing at his sanity. What was he willing to lose now? Could he still find himself among the ruins, or had he just stepped into a nightmare far beyond his understanding? The city lights shimmered outside, a world he barely recognized, while darkness loomed close, forging a path toward an uncertain future. Jack stared at the file in his hands, the city lights glistening like distant stars through Marcus's penthouse windows. Anxiety twisted in his gut. This document contained too much. Secrets that could topple empires, could expose them both in ways they hadn't even begun to comprehend. He heard a door click shut behind him. Jack's heart raced. Marcus stepped in with a drink, brow furrowed. "What's that, Jack?" His voice dropped, a thin line of worry threading through the calm facade. Jack held it up like it was a live grenade. "I found this. It's explosive." "Put it down," Marcus said, his voice tight. "You don't know what you're dealing with." But it was too late. Curiosity gnawed at Jack's resolve. He opened the file, skimming through pages filled with damning evidence against the movers and shakers of the Silicon Circle. Names were printed like clockwork, betrayals, sabotage, and scandals spanning years. The air thickened between them. "Marcus, we could—" "Shut up!" he snapped. The rare flash of anger caught Jack off guard. "You have no idea what you're getting into." "Then tell me!" There was fear in Jack's voice, but it was mixed with a stubborn edge. "If this is about change, then isn't this our way?" Silence hung heavy. Then Marcus leaned in, tension churning in the air. He spoke slowly, like each word was a stone thrown into the dark. "It's not just them, Jack. The power runs deeper, to us." "What do you mean?" Before he could blink, Marcus yanked the file away and shoved aside papers from a nearby table, revealing a hidden safe. Jack's breath caught. The luxury of the penthouse now morphed into an eerie chamber filled with whispered secrets. Marcus turned the dial with a calm intensity, the mechanism clicking into place. The safe door creaked open, and Jack stared as Marcus removed a small envelope. He opened it, pulling out a silver key and a faded photograph. Jack's chest tightened. "Who's that?" he asked, eyes darting over the image. Two boys stood beaming in front of a ramshackle building, arms draped over each other's shoulders. One boy was unmistakably Marcus, but the other... Jack gaped. "It can't be!" His voice dropped, a chill creeping through him. "No way!" "I didn't want to tell you yet," Marcus said, voice low, fraught with urgency. "That's you, Jack. We grew up together in that run-down neighborhood. They erased our pasts." Panic kicked in like a whirlwind. Jack staggered back, eyes wide. "No, that's not possible. I'd have remembered you." "Memory's a tricky beast," Marcus replied, pain flickering in his eyes. "They stripped away everything, us, our families, to play their games." The weight of disbelief crashed down. "But why? Why keep us apart?" Suddenly, the sound of sirens echoed in the distance, growing louder, closer. Jack's heart raced as he processed this revelation. "They're coming for us. What have you gotten us into?" Marcus's jaw clenched, face pale. "I didn't want to believe it myself, but we're targets for a reason. The Circle doesn't want this coming to light. They can't let people like us expose the truth." The floor felt unsteady beneath him. The sirens blared closer now, urgency flooding the narrow spaces between them. Jack's mind whirled with confusion. They were on the brink of discovery, but at what cost? "Marcus!" he shouted, trembling hands reaching out. "What do we do now? Who can we trust?" "I don't know," his voice broke, eyes reflecting the chaos without. But in that moment of vulnerability, something shifted. Together, they raced towards the door, their pasts colliding with present danger. The sound of footsteps echoed in the hall. The door creaked ominously as fists pounded on it. "Jack!" Marcus yelled, panic rising. "We have to leave, now!" But before they could decide a course, the door burst open. The men in black suits stormed in with cold efficiency. This was it. The game was just beginning. Who would fall, and who would rise from the ashes? Jack's heart thundered in his chest. He felt the weight of fate hovering over them, like dark clouds ready to burst. What truth would they share by dawn? The door burst open like a storm. Dark suits flooded into the penthouse. Jack's heart raced. Each beat pounding in his ears, drowning out the chaos around him. "Get down!" Marcus shouted, pushing Jack behind a marble table. But as they crouched low, a searing pain shot through Jack's shoulder. He gasped, stunned as he felt warmth spreading down his arm. He looked down, the world spinning. A dart, slick and cruel, jutted out from his flesh. Panic surged like a tidal wave. "Jack!" Marcus's voice broke through a haze. "Stay with me!" But Jack's vision blurred, the edges of reality crumpling like old paper. He struggled to stay alert, fighting against the heavy pull of darkness. The men in suits towered above, their faces cold and determined. Soldiers in a war Jack hadn't known he was part of. "Secure the asset!" One of them barked. The face was familiar. The last person Jack expected to see here, David Frost. As the chaos unfolded, Jack's mind scrambled for answers, piecing together the betrayal. It wasn't just his past that had been stripped away. It was Marcus's too, hidden deep within an elaborate game. They couldn't trust anyone. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them. Metal drawers burst open, spilling papers everywhere. Jack's heart raced even faster as he realized. The safe, its secrets now exposed. Look, Marcus urged, voice urgent. We need to save what's left, tugging at Jack's arm, pulling him back to the file, looking for answers, an escape plan. But before they could react, an explosion ripped through the night, shattering the glass walls and showering them in sparks. Get up, Marcus roared, grabbing Jack and pulling him toward the back. But Jack's legs betrayed him. The blistering pain in his shoulder dulled his senses. But in that instant, a loud voice echoed through the wreckage, sharp as a blade. Stop! This is exactly what they want! Jack's eyes widened. It was her, Melanie Harper, but tech mogul from the circle. Always lurking, always watching. She stood there, fierce as fire, amidst the debris. Melanie? Jack croaked, disbelief washing over him. You're not with them? Not everyone in the circle is blind, Jack. You have to trust me. She moved closer, her eyes darting to the sprawled bodies around them. They know you found the truth. We don't have much time. What truth? Jack breathed, fighting against the fog in his mind. The truth about your files. It's bigger than the circle, bigger than you and Marcus. This is about control, manipulation. It goes beyond any of us. Her eyes sparked with urgency, holding secrets like embers waiting to ignite. Marcus shot a glance at Jack. She can't be trusted, Jack. But Jack felt something shift inside him. With every heartbeat, the weight of the dart in his shoulder, the chaos of the room, it ignited a fierceness within him. Enough! He roared, silencing them both. Let's deal with the threat first, then we figure it out. The urgency jolted them all awake. But just as they rallied, a flash flooded the room. Overhead lights flickered back on, bright and blinding. Marcus, disoriented, fell back against the wall. Jack! He shouted, eyes wide. The files, what's in them? And then the unthinkable happened. He collapsed, shaking. A trickle of blood seeped from his mouth. Marcus! Jack's voice broke, nerves fraying. The betrayal, it cut deeper than anything physical. But Melanie stepped forward, her hands held high. I can help. We just have to go now. Jack's gut twisted in uncertainty. Was she truly their ally? Or another player in a game he didn't comprehend? Marcus gasped, breath hitching. Don't let her! But the sirens wailed louder, urgency piercing through thickening tension. The truth was more than just secrets. It was life and death. Would they escape the circle alive? Or would they uncover depths of betrayal they never knew? Decide, Jack! Melanie pressed, eyes fierce. You have to choose. And as the walls closed in, the darkness swallowed hope, leaving only questions hanging in the air. What would it cost him to know the truth? Jack's hands shook as he clutched the file. He could feel the weight of its secrets pressing down on him. Like a heavy fog that refused to lift. The city lights winked below, each glimmer a reminder of the world he was losing grip on. The truth inside that file could set him free or drag him deeper into the abyss. What are you thinking? Marcus's question cut through the silence. His voice was steady, but there was a fire behind it. I'm just processing, Jack said, his eyes flicking across the pages. Each word felt like a knife, revealing betrayals that danced around the very roots of the Silicon Circle. Before Marcus could respond, a sudden crash echoed from the street below. a sound like shattering glass. Jack jolted, instinctively moving to the window. Outside, chaos unfolded. The sound of screeching tires, panicked shouts, and the unmistakable thud of a body hitting the pavement. "Stay here," Jack said, already moving toward the door. What the hell was that? But Marcus grabbed his arm, an urgency in his grip. "No! We need to stay focused." A second explosion shook the ground. They could see the glint of a police car's lights, flashing reds and blues illuminating the darkening streets. Fear gripped Jack's chest tighter. He had to know what was happening. In a heartbeat, they both rushed to the balcony, peering down. A crowd had gathered, murmurs buzzing like angry bees. Jack squinted through the dusk, and in that moment, his heart dropped. There, on the ground, was a figure. "Is that?" Marcus whispered, his voice drifting into uncertainty. Jack gasped. It was a longtime enemy of both men, a ruthless rival who thrived on the downfall of others. Derek Keller, a man whose icy smile had haunted their dreams, lay sprawled on the pavement, blood pooling around him. The shock of it all sent waves of disbelief crashing over Jack. Before he could register what he was feeling, the crowd parted. A woman stepped forward, face twisted in regret and fury. It was Clara, Derek's personal assistant. Her shoulders trembled as she knelt by him, screams spilling from her lips, cutting through the night like a knife. "No, not like this!" Marcus turned to Jack, eyes wide. "This changes everything." And that's when it hit Jack. The file. Suddenly, the truth crowded in on him like 1,000 thoughts in a single heartbeat. What if it wasn't just a scandal? What if it was deeper? Clara turned her gaze up, meeting theirs from the ground, eyes blazing with outrage. "You two, you think you can waltz in and out of this world? You're as complicit as he was." Jack felt a chill creep through him. Complicit? Was he really? He hadn't done anything, yet, but the darkness wrapped around him tighter. "Jack," Marcus said slowly, "that file could incriminate more than just Derek." "I need to find out what's happening," Jack replied, desperation pushing him forward. But the weight of uncertainty hung heavy. Jack felt his throat tighten as Clara screamed again, fingers clawing at the ground near Derek's lifeless body. Everything they'd built, every ambition, every network, sat atop a fragile layer of deception. Jack glanced back at Marcus, a question written over his face. Suddenly, a loud crash resonated from above. It startled them both, shaking their precarious composure. Without warning, a figure came tumbling from the building above, onto the balcony, eyes wild with fear. It was a tech insider, someone Jack recognized, but couldn't place. "You have to get out of here! It's not safe!" And just like that, a storm surged around them, the world crumbling beneath their feet. Jack's heart raced. What had he stepped into? He looked back, searching Marcus's face for answers. But the fear in Marcus's eyes mirrored his own. Jack found himself at a crossroads, the chaos below threatening to pull them under. Would they risk everything for the truth, or run from it? Jack's heart raced, the file heavy in his hands. He sat on that plush couch in Marcus's penthouse, the strange aroma of expensive candles filling the air. The city stretched out beneath them, a glimmering sea of dreams and shattered hopes. What would happen when they dared to bring the truth to light? Could this shift everything, reshape their destinies? But a nagging doubt tugged at him. Could they handle the fallout? Suddenly the door burst open. A frantic figure dashed in, adrenaline coursing through him. It was Nolan, Marcus's longtime advisor, a slick man with a charming smile that could melt ice, but a heart that churned with secrets. His eyes were wide, breathless with urgency. "Marcus, we need to talk now!" Nolan gasped, swiping at beads of sweat on his brow. Marcus shot Jack a look, a silent question passing between them. Before Jack could voice his confusion, Nolan continued, and the color drained from his face. "They're coming for us. The Circle. They know. They know everything." "What do you mean?" Marcus demanded, rising to his feet. The calm confidence he usually carried evaporated, replaced by a crackle of fear. Nolan's hands trembled as he handed over a crisp envelope. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Photos. They have files. They know about the meeting with the homeless shelter. They're using it against us, claiming you're trying to buy favor with the city, building alliances to take them down." Ugh. "What? That's insane!" Jack interjected, bewildered. "We're just trying to help." "It's more than that." Nolan's eyes darted around, the panic palpable. "They have something bigger, something on Marcus, that could turn the industry against him." Jack's heart dropped. He stared at Marcus, who was now pale, the lines on his face deepening with dread. "What is this?" Jack pressed. "What are they talking about?" Nolan swallowed hard. "It's about the deal you made with Mountain Tech. When you promised them investment, you didn't know they were involved in shady practices. If they expose that—" "Shady practices?" Marcus echoed, his voice cracking. "What are you saying?" "An insider told me," Nolan rushed. "They've been skimming money from every deal, and they know you are in talks with them. They plan to paint you as complicit, corrupt. They won't just take you down. They'll destroy everything you've built." Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. The weight of betrayal loomed over them like an oncoming storm. He looked at Marcus, who caught his gaze, vulnerability shining through like a flicker of candlelight in the dark. "Marcus, are you involved?" Jack asked, almost a whisper, searching for reality in the chaos. "No!" Marcus shouted, voice raw with emotion. "I swear, I didn't know. I was trying to help." "Trying to help?" Jack felt a surge of frustration. "You're a billionaire! How can you not know?" Nolan stepped in before the tension exploded. "We need to move. Now. They've already set their traps. If we don't act fast, it's over for both of you." Jack glanced back at the file, the secrets buried inside, now feeling like a ticking time bomb. What had he stumbled into? Betrayal awaited around every corner. The glittering towers outside felt like a cage closing in. "Where do we go?" Jack demanded, his resolve hardening. As they prepared to flee, the soft ping of Marcus's phone shattered the stillness. A message glowed on the screen, just one word: "Run!" In that moment, everything shifted. The pantomime of allyship crumbled, revealing a maze of secrets, lies, and the certainty that trust is nothing but an illusion in the game they played. As the three of them bolted through the lavish doors, the city's unforgiving reality wrapped around them, drenching the air with fear. The stakes were higher than they'd ever imagined. What lies ahead? Who among them was really a friend or a foe? The chase was on, and the truth was waiting to cut deep. Jack's heart thumped hard in his chest as he held the heavy file. His mind raced, the weight of the paper almost burning against his skin. Marcus stood close, the air thick with unspoken tension. Jack felt a wave of doubt, a crack in the confidence he'd been trying to build. "What's in this?" Jack breathed, angling his body toward Marcus, seeking answers. Marcus's eyes flickered. Something moved behind that calm exterior. "It's a roadmap to their lies, but it's dangerous," he warned, his voice low, like a whisper carried by the winds outside. Before Jack could respond, the sharp sound of glass shattering echoed through the otherwise quiet penthouse. They both turned toward the source, hearts racing. Jack's breath caught, an icy grip closing around his throat. Then, like a scene out of a nightmare, a figure emerged from the shadows of the hallway. One that sent chills running down Jack's spine. It was Raphael, the ex-partner Jack thought he'd left behind, the one who had orchestrated his expulsion from the circle. With secretive whispers and sly grins, Raphael's eyes glinted with something between malice and glee. "Surprise!" Raphael sneered. A chaos of unintended laughter spilling from his lips, echoed by the sudden rush of footsteps behind him. A team of suits, faces familiar from the club, now shadowed with menace. Jack's hands trembled, the file slipping dangerously toward the ground. "What are you doing here?" he shouted, anger and despair colliding in his voice. "Oh, you know, just coming to remind you how quickly your empire crumbles," Raphael taunted, stepping forward, his presence a dark cloud. "You thought you could sneak away? Pathetic." Behind him, the others shift. They were here to finish what they started, ripping apart what little fabric was left of Jack's dignity. He looked to Marcus, who stood strangely still, the calmness now replaced by something deeper, more serious. "Jack!" Marcus interrupted sharply, his voice cutting through Jack's thoughts like a knife. "Get back!" But Jack couldn't move. The sight of Raphael brought a tidal wave of insecurities crashing down. "I know you hate me," Raphael growled, full of scorn. "But you really should be thanking me. I still have the power to control your narrative. And you know what? It's about to get worse." Beneath Jack's rage brewed a whirlpool of confusion. "What are you talking about?" And then it happened. Raphael revealed a phone from his pocket, the screen lighting up like a bomb ready to detonate. He waved it like a trophy. "I recorded everything, the fundraising, the betrayal, your downfall. The scandal will blow this whole setup apart, and you're the star of the show." The room fell into a stunned silence. Jack's heart raced. He felt the air leave his lungs. Panic coursed through him as the implications set in. This was more than a betrayal. It was a full-on attack. People gasped, eyes widening. Jack could see the shadows of doubt creep into Marcus's eyes, and Jack's stomach twisted. The man who seemed to have it all together now stood at the edge of uncertainty. "Marcus!" Jack called, desperation spilling into his tone. He turned, searching for solace in the only ally he had left. But Marcus's face hardened. the light in his eyes dimming, as if a door had clicked shut. And then Marcus spoke, voice simmering. You need to choose, Jack. Are you going to fight this, or are you going to let them win? The truth hit like a punch. The choice hung between them. Vibrating in the air, the stakes had shifted, and Jack felt the ground fall from beneath him. Betrayal and conflict loomed, while outside the world continued unaware, lights flickering, oblivious to the war about to begin. Jack stared at the file and the looming figures of Raphael's team, uncertainty clawing at him. Dot! Behind it all, a burning fear whispered, who really was Marcus Reed? The man he'd trusted, or another piece in a larger game? The tension tightened like a noose as Jack prepared to answer. Would he fight back? Or would he crawl back into the shadows? The city below pulsed, life continuing. But for Jack, everything hung in the balance, uncertainty drumming in his ears as he moved toward the edge of this newly revealed abyss. Jack felt the walls closing in, every breath heavy with pressure. Raphael's triumphant smirk deepened as he spoke, his voice laced with venom. What's it going to be, Jack? Fight back? Or let me expose the whole thing? Tension hung in the air, so thick it felt like a physical presence pushing against him. Jack's thoughts raced, trying to piece everything together. Marcus's silence, Raphael's taunts, and then, just as the storm of uncertainty began to settle into a singular thought, a loud crack split the air. It came from the far end of the penthouse, the wall that overlooked the city. A window shattered, and all eyes turned towards it, hearts pounding as fragments rained down. A dark figure catapulted inside, rolling across the floor with a fluid grace that caught everyone off guard. Get down! The command erupted from outside the window, followed by a torrent of gunfire, bullets splintering the walls around them. Shock painted across Jack's face. He ducked instinctively, adrenaline surging. The figure on the floor sprang to their feet. Bethany, Marcus's trusted tech genius, eyes wide with urgency. We don't have time, she shouted, out of breath, urgent, as sirens wailed in the distance. They're coming. We need to move. What do you mean? Jack's voice cracked, disbelief still clinging to him. Before she could respond, Raphael laughed, the sound grating in the chaos. Fetch the paper, sweetheart. Let's see how your little rebellion unfolds. His mocking tone ignited something dark within Jack, rage mixed with fear. But as the group scrambled, the unthinkable happened. From the shadows of the doorway, a figure emerged, tall, imposing, and unmistakably familiar. It was Derek, alive and breathing, a cruel smile etched onto his face. Jack's stomach dropped. Did you really think I was gone? Derek's voice cut through the noise like a knife, his very presence causing Jack's heart to race. You left this behind, Jack. You took everything from me. But that's about to change. The room reeled, time seeming to slow. Marcus's expression twisted into something unrecognizable. You were supposed to be dead. Derek shrugged, a smug grace in his movement. Just a little trip to reimagine things. You know how it is in our world. He moved closer, fixing his gaze on Marcus. Then, Jack, We could have ruled together, but now you're just a pawn in a game far beyond your comprehension." Jack's mind spun. Derek had been behind so much. The betrayals, the manipulation. If he was here, it meant every plan they thought they had crafted was a mere illusion. "Why are you really here?" Jack demanded, defensive and on edge. Derek chuckled. "To collect what's owed." He gestured to Raphael, who exchanged a knowing glance. "And to remind you of who actually holds the power. This whole circus, it's my production." Raphael stepped forward, armed with confidencia, mergiendo su shadow. "Such a shame you chose the wrong side. You think this was ever about changing the game? It was about winning it." A silence stretched as Jack felt the floor shift beneath him, dread pooling in his gut. Who had been playing whom? The alliances he thought were true now crumbled like ash. Just then, the room erupted in chaos. A loud explosion rocked the building, sending everyone to the ground. Alarms blaring as the lights flickered. Panic surged, bodies scattered. Jack scrambled to his feet, glancing back at Marcus, whose face reflected shock and betrayal. "Jack, we need to go!" Bethany yelled, urgency igniting her voice. But it was already too late. Outside the windows, smoke billowed against the sky, swallowing the city whole. In that moment, the truth became clear. They were caught in a deadly game, and the players, they were more intertwined than anyone had guessed. Jack's head spun as he grasped at what was left of his trust. Everything he thought he knew was now hanging by a thread as Derek's eyes locked onto him with a sinister promise. This was bigger than ambition. It was personal. The pieces were shifting, and Jack had to make a choice. Who was friend? Who was foe? All around them the world buckled, and as the sound of impending doom loomed closer, Jack felt the weight of consequences waiting on the edge of his decision. Jack felt the world tilt, every heartbeat echoing in his ears. Raphael's smirk, the looming threat of Derek, it all spiraled into chaos. Smoke filled the air, and the room felt like it was shaking. Panic surged through him. Bethany's urgency was a lifeline. But could they really escape this? Derek stepped forward, his presence heavy and taunting. "You thought I was gone? This was never about you, Jack. It's about power, and I hold the strings." His eyes glinted with malice, and the weight of his words pressed down like a lead blanket. But just then, another explosion rocked the penthouse. Glass shattered, sending shards spinning like deadly confetti. Jack ducked low, heart pounding, chaos swirling around him. He glanced up, and there she was, Melanie, appearing just as fiercely as Bethany. "Follow me!" she shouted, urgency cracking through her voice. Jack hesitated, caught between betrayal and hope. Behind them, the room erupted. Raphael grinned, then turned to escape with Derek. And that's when everything changed. An alarming sound cut through the commotion. A beep, a countdown, tinged with an unsettling chill. Jack's heart froze. "What is that?" Derek's face blanched, a flicker of fear igniting a fire in his eyes. "No, they can't!" Suddenly, an object whirled fiercely past them, crashing against the wall. A flash, an intense pulse of light engulfed the room. Jack shielded his eyes as he felt an overwhelming force push him back. When the light faded, silence swallowed the space, a heavy void replacing the chaos. Jack blinked, trying to clear the haze. The dust settled slowly. But it wasn't just the remnants of the building. The air felt different, thick with something unfathomable. "What just happened?" he gasped, struggling to comprehend as he turned to see everyone frozen, eyes wide with disbelief. Time wavered, then shifted. Jack's gaze darted. Derek lay on the ground, mouth agape, his identity unraveling before Jack. Beneath the chaos, writhing in fear, he looked different. Jack stumbled back, jaw slack. Beneath the skin of a man he'd known as his enemy, a secret was leaking. It wasn't just Derek. Around them, whispers turned to shouts. Bodies began shifting in confusion. "Am I dreaming?" Jack heard someone cry. But it was Derek's scream that clawed into Jack's heart. "The truth! The truth is not what you think!" "What truth?" Jack's mind spun in circles, but as the dust cleared, he could see it. A sharp glint caught his attention near Derek's arm. An odd device, it hissed and pulsed ominously. Jack's insides twisted. He couldn't breathe. "Get back!" Bethany shouted, instinct kicking in. But it was too late. A thick mist began to seep from the device, crawling along the floor, coiling around everyone. Panic surged anew. Derek writhed, thrashing against the unmistakable truth. "They'll expose us. The game was never real. We were just tools." Every eye locked on the sight before them, every pulse quickening in disbelief. The room spun as Barbara shouted, "No, it can't be true!" Jack's stomach churned as he tried to grasp reality. Were they all players in a game far more twisted than imagined? Were they nothing but pawns in a larger scheme? As the mist thickened, it enveloped Derek, swirling in blurs as he screamed, "They'll come for you next!" And with that, the light flickered. Disorientation swept over Jack. He couldn't tell where the ground was, or if this was all an illusion. All he knew was fear and darkness tightening around them like a grip. The city outside blurred into nothingness as he faced the truth. Nothing was what it seemed. As Derek slipped into shadows, their world shifted dangerously, leaving them gasping for clarity. Who were they in this warped reality? Would they fight the truth or sink beneath it? The realization lingered like fog, heavy in the air as Jack's breath quickened. What awaited them in the corners of darkness? Time hung suspended, and Jack stood at the brink, wondering if he was ready to face what came next. Jack felt the energy crackle in the room, tension hanging thick like fog. The mist swirled ominously, shadows stretching across the walls as Derek writhed on the ground. Panic surged, faces close to him twisted in confusion and fear. They had crossed a line, and now the truth was looming, dark and unstoppable. "Get the device," Jack yelled, startling everyone. The urgency shot through him. He darted forward, grabbing the pulsating device from the ground, its light flickering like a heartbeat. As he held it, Jack could feel a surge of power coursing through him, a mix of fear and determination. "Jack, no!" Marcus screamed, his voice cutting through the chaos as he lunged forward. "We don't know what it will do." But it was too late. Jack pressed the button. The room filled with a blinding light, a surge rippling through everyone. The reality around them shifted, blurring, twisting into something unrecognizable. A kaleidoscope of images flickered in Jack's mind. Betrayals, laughter, moments of hope, all distorted and reassembled. He saw his own past, the promise of what could have been, the warmth of friendships, the sharp edges of loss. Voices echoed, each syllable ringing like a bell. Jack, you can change it all. The light faded slowly. They collapsed into silence. Eyes blinked in disbelief as they regained their bearings. Jack stood still, breathless, watching as Derek faded, a look of resignation swimming in his eyes. "What just happened?" Bethany murmured, disbelief washing over her. That was something else, Jack breathed, still holding on to the device that faintly pulsed in his palm. "Well, whatever that was," Melanie said, glancing at Derek's fading figure. "It changed everything." Jack thought of the choices laid out before him, of the power they now held. "We've got another shot, right? This isn't just the end. Or the beginning," Marcus added softly, hope flickering anew. The exhaustion in his eyes couldn't hide the spark igniting in his heart, but it wasn't over yet. Outside, sirens blared. The chaos of the city seeped in. They needed to leave, to escape the web of shadows that had ensnared them for so long. "Let's go!" Jack urged, and they rushed toward the exit. Together, they bolted down the stairs, the adrenaline pumping in their veins. The world outside buzzed with energy, the night alive with possibilities. As they stepped onto the street, the city lights flickered with new life, a dazzling reminder that they could still fight for change. Jack breathed in the cool air, a rush of hope warming him from within. "Where do we start?" Bethany asked, determination coloring her voice. Jack turned to them, his heart racing with the weight of the question. "We start with the truth. We expose everything. We fight back." And as they stood together, something shifted in the atmosphere. The power had returned to them, and this time they wouldn't let fear dictate their story. In the distance, but dawn glimmered on the horizon. They would face whatever came next, together. But lurking beneath that resolve, doubt hung like an anchor. Whispering questions Jack wasn't sure could ever be answered. Is this really just the beginning? He wondered, as they gathered in a tight circle, ready to take on the unknown. And as the first light broke, illuminating the city, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that their journey had only just begun. You have to subscribe now. Don't miss a single story as we uncover the mysteries ahead. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm that fuels this channel. Flood the comment section with your reactions, theories, and what you think will happen next. And please, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Don't wait even a second longer to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's keep this adventure going.